Good morning, everyone. My name is Mike, and I'm an addict. For those of you who are new to the channel, we are working the 12 steps of life recovery using the 12-step devotionals out of the Life Recovery Bible and questions from the Life Recovery Workbook. Today's Bible reading is Acts chapter 9, verses 1 through 9. Step 1. We admitted that we are powerless over our problems and that our lives have become unmanageable. There are important moments in life that can change our destiny. These are often times when we are confronted with how powerless we are over the events of our lives. These moments can either destroy us forever or set the course of our lives in a much better direction. Saul of Tarsus, later called Paul, see Acts chapter 13 verse 9, had such a moment. After Jesus' ascension, Saul took it upon himself to rid the world of Christians. As he headed to Damascus on this mission, a light from heaven suddenly shone down around him. He fell to the ground and heard a voice saying to him, "Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me? I am Jesus, the one who you are persecuting. Now get up and go into the city, and you will be told what you must do." Saul picked himself up off the ground, but when he opened his eyes, he was blind. So his companions led him by the hand to Damascus. He remained there blind for 3 days and did not eat or drink. Acts chapter 9, verses 3 through 6 and verses 8 through 9. Saul was suddenly confronted with the fact that his life wasn't perfect, as it wasn't as perfect as he thought. Self-righteousness had been his trademark. By letting go of his illusions of power, however, he became one of the most powerful men ever, the Apostle Paul. When we are confronted with the knowledge that our lives aren't under control, we have a choice. We can continue in denial and self-righteousness, or we can face the fact that we have been blind to some important issues. If we become willing to be led into recovery and into the whole new way of life, we will find true power. Today's questions. 1. When I continue to pursue my own agenda without asking God for direction, what happens in my life? Anytime in life I've pursued my own agenda without asking God for direction, which was most of my life until just a couple years ago, I've never gotten anywhere. It's like I just spun my wheels, trapped in this cycle of addiction. Even now, outside of recovery, I catch myself pursuing my own agenda with certain things and it never works out. Just this past Friday, the pastor was preaching about how we have two voices. We have our own voice, which pursues our own agenda, and then we have God's voice that speaks to us and tells us his will for us. The trick is to always listen to God's voice, not to our own voice, because God's voice will never lead us astray. 2. Are there areas of my life which God may have to use extreme measures before I would listen for direction? Which areas? Thankfully, this question doesn't apply to me today. God woke me up already. He spoke to me loud and clear. Mike, do something different with your life. To better answer this question, I'm going to share a testimony with you about when I first started following God and asking for his guidance and that his will be done. In the back of my mind, I had these doubts. I've been living a certain way all my life, really thinking that people who gave their life to God were silly, that they were silly for believing in anything they couldn't see, feel, or touch, that they were silly for giving up the pleasures of this world for the promise of something after this life. So like many before me have done, I asked God, I said, God, please show me a sign. Show me that you're real. Show me something that there's something else after this life. 3 days after my 17th birthday, me and a girlfriend ran away together. We stole her parents' Grand Cherokee and headed to Alabama to get married, and we didn't make it. We picked up some hitchhikers on the way right outside of Chicago. They were also pretty young. They were older than us, but they were still teenagers. At one point, we had to stop for gas somewhere in southern Illinois. We didn't have much money, so we didn't pay for the gas. About a mile down the road after leaving the gas station, the police got behind me. He followed us for like a mile and finally hit his lights to attempt to pull us over. I made a decision that affected all of our lives. Instead of pulling over, I hit the gas. I took them on a high-speed chase, which lasted about 45 minutes through southern Illinois into Indiana. The chase ended with us flipping 16 times and rolling for a half a mile. One of the girls was thrown from the vehicle and crushed, and the rest of us were severely injured. The girl who got crushed by the vehicle survived, but barely, and she could never live a normal life again. My Aunt Linda, a Christian woman who had no idea I had ran off with this girl or even that I wasn't at my mom's house, called my mom around midnight, maybe 1 in the morning, right around the time of our accident, and she asked where I was. When my mom said, I don't know, probably out with his friends, she told my mom to pray for me, that she had had a dream that I was in an accident and was dying in the middle of the street. My mom had no way of knowing at the time I was in fact lying in the middle of the street on I-65 in Posey County, Indiana, severely injured. My aunt went on to call the members of her church and asked them all to pray for me. My mom went back to sleep. About an hour later, she was woken by a phone call from the state police telling her that her son was in a major car accident and for her to stay home by the phone because they didn't expect me to live through the night. Of course, she didn't listen. My family jumped in their cars and headed down to Indiana to the hospital. By the time they arrived at the hospital, I was just fine. All things they told her were wrong with me: internal bleeding, broken bones, all of it just gone. Just a few days later, I walked out of that hospital battered and bruised, but with nothing broken, no life-threatening injuries, and I went about my life. My aunt told me about the story of her dream. My mother told me the story, but somehow back then it just didn't register. Not only had my aunt's faith and immediate action to get many people to pray for me saved my life that early August 9th morning in 1993, but an angel had appeared to her in a dream to tell her that I needed them prayers. If she ignored it or had chalked it up just as a dream, I wouldn't be here right now. But God has a plan for me, just as He has a plan for all of you. If He didn't have a plan for you, you wouldn't be hearing my testimony right now. When I asked God to show me a sign that day, to show me that He is real, that memory came back into my head. I could see myself out there lying in the street dying. I remember my aunt's words, and in the back of my head I heard a voice say, Mike, are you serious? What more do I have to show you before you believe? That is an example of God using extreme measures before I would listen. It isn't quite as extreme as how He reached out to Saul. Just like your testimony might not be as extreme as mine. Only God knows how extreme of measures He has to use in order to reach those of us He chooses. But everyone's testimony is just as important. Please share yours with me, either on my Facebook page or in the comments below. 3. What will it take for me to listen to God? Unfortunately, it took a lifetime of failures, prison sentences, and brushes with death. But now I'm listening to Him loud and clear. Thank you for joining me. Please help me share my journey with as many people as possible by liking this video, hitting that subscribe button below, and sharing it on your social media platforms. God bless you. Have a great day, and stay sober just for today.